Converting the game is basically rewriting it. And it was exhausting.
It's not too late to reverse course.
While I was doing this, I decided to go down a coding UX rabbit hole.
There's no time to waste with only 16 days left. We've used half of the 42 days in this challenge to make 5 multiplayer party games, and so far there are 0 games finished. If I don't get this done in the next 3 weeks, then my credibility is going to look sus.
Now the plan for this week is to get Doodle Wars to that 50% done threshold, and then we gotta go back to change the games that are using Phaser now that don't really need to use Pixi, because we'll get a smaller app download size.
Sounds like there's a lot of work left to do.
We have a 50% done tic-tac-toe game, a 60-70% done Flappy Race game, a 50% done Simon Says game, a 50% done Codenames game.
And what about Doodle Wars?
So I did get drawing to work. None of the guessing works yet.
Well, drawing is the hard part, so that's significant.
This drawing is only local.
Okay, I take it back. You did not do the hard part.
So the next thing we're gonna have to do is send up these points being drawn and then have the server relay it to everybody else so that they can then replay the drawing. Maybe 90% of the 50% of the way done with Doodle Wars.
Looks like the drawing works. What else got done?
So I have it playing rounds. I planned 5 rounds. It's going up to 6 and then dying at 7.
Sounds like that would be a simple fix.
I also have it guessing. So when you guess, I'm using the same form that I used in Codenames for giving the clue to your teammates. When you send up a clue, a little thing above the canvas will show you the words that people are guessing. Now, one thing we'll have to do in the coming weeks is actually let you pick a name so that we don't have to show your ID.
The amount of polish work left to do is giving me anxiety.
There's still a few more things I want to do, including fixing the end of the 5th round problem, show you an end game screen, and make sure that the canvas is actually the same size for everybody, since if you're drawing all the way out here but someone has a small screen, they won't be able to see it. And then we'll move on to rewriting tic-tac-toe.
What's the good news with Doodle Wars?
So now you can play the whole game, the full 5 rounds. It'll then show you an end screen. The team with the highest score is the winning team.
Okay, how does scoring work?
If there are 2 teams, then you're the first person to guess, then you get 200 points. Because there's 2 teams, you get 200 points. The next person that guesses gets 100 points because there's only 1 team left.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward.
I also got the game deployed to Firebase hosting, but then I went down a small rabbit hole trying to fix or improve the Next.js deploy on Vercel, and that was like an hour-long rabbit hole I didn't really need to go down.
Some would call this poor decision making.
But the main thing is Doodle Wars functionally working.
Any work on tic-tac-toe?
Now I did nothing on tic-tac-toe because I went down this rabbit hole.
Are you sure you understand what a time-limited challenge is?
Tomorrow I will start on converting tic-tac-toe. Converting the game is basically rewriting it. And it was exhausting.
It's not too late to reverse course.
While I was doing this, I decided to go down a coding UX rabbit hole.
What? There's no time to waste with only 16 days left.
What I've noticed in using the state machine is that I'm very often creating things and then wanting to destroy them when they leave the state. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if one function by itself could be on enter and what it returned could be on exit? Now there's also on update, so how do we handle that?
Reality check, these are not problems if you just do things the traditional way.
So I had one inkling of an idea that just may work. Should I go down this rabbit hole? Should I just use the states as they are?
The sane choice is to just use them as they are.
And I decided to go down the rabbit hole.
You are insane.
And it wasn't so bad. It uses the same core state machine, but I made a little utility function called fromFunction. So what this lets me do is write states in a way that's similar to React components. It's a function, it takes in some props, and then instead of returning something to render, it returns a cleanup function or the onExit function.
What about the update tick problem?
And now if you want it on update, there's a second parameter in the arguments list, an object of hooks. They're not React hooks, they're like callbacks. And so one of those callbacks is on update. So in your function, you can set the on update function.
Sounds like cleverness for cleverness' sake to me.
Now so far I used this for the entire tic-tac-toe game. I like it, I'm going to keep using it.
I only hope you know what you're doing.
Now while doing this passive converting, I figured I'd just add some graphics as well. I did try looking, but I really couldn't find any interesting X's and O's. So I'm gonna use gems.
Honestly, the gems look much better.
Now we have a $100 budget and $5 was spent on DigitalOcean, so there's $95 left. I looked around on Itch, I checked Kenny's assets, but in the end I landed on a service I've used before, and it costs $36 if you buy the whole year.
What is it called?
CraftPix. And you have access to this entire library of assets that you can use to glue things together or just use it as a jumping off point.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
Which means we have $650 something, right? Let's do some math. My brain is too tired to math. $59. Is that right? 59. Okay. There's still sounds and music that we need, and I don't exactly know where I'm getting those from. I don't really know of a deal for audio.
At least you spend money wisely, unlike how you spend time.
We're not quite done with tic-tac-toe, but we are very close. And this is one of those days where I only had about an hour.
I see that you are immune to time pressures.
But I still did something, and what I was gonna work on was animations, but then when I got into it, I decided to add a replay button to the end of tic-tac-toe.
Good, that's an important feature.
Now I got quite a bit of animations done in tic-tac-toe.
That's good to hear.
I actually started by coding up the system that I like to use a lot for any arbitrary process or action. Now here I've called it jobs.
Interesting, tell me more.
This system is inspired by a process manager system from Game Coding Complete. It's a great book. And so a job is basically anything that wants to do a little bit of work every frame. And one thing that does a little bit of work every frame are animations. Now the magic is the ability to chain together different actions. You can also play a whole bunch of actions at the same time. So you can rotate, scale and fade, and then move off screen.
That does sound pretty cool.
So creating this system took a bunch of time, but I think it's going to save a lot of time in the long run. Since I have a bunch of actions now that I can reuse, and since I can combine them however I want, I can create some pretty complex animations just from these basic actions.
Given how much time you waste, saving some would be a great change of pace.
So in tic-tac-toe, you can see that the board kind of changes size, things are sliding in and out, buttons slide in and fade, the gems kind of fade in and then slam down. Now tic-tac-toe is not fully done, even though I hoped it would have been.
There's no need for hope. Just go down less rabbit holes.
I think what we're mostly missing is a background that's not just black, and sound effects, and some music. So we'll probably be able to get all that done tomorrow at the beginning of week 5.
Watch the next video and subscribe to see if my credibility survives this series to make 5 multiplayer party games. We have 5 games that are half finished and none of them are totally polished with just 14 days left.